Hi everyone, it's me Ankita. Today we are going to talk about the simple present tense. Well, this is a familiar concept for you, and I'm sure that you have learned about it since maybe elementary school. So let's see this as a review of the material. Okay, maybe we can have a better view of the simple present tense, more deep understanding about this concept. Okay, so this is our agenda today. We are going to discuss about the function of simple present tense, so how and when it is used in a sentence. Also, we are going to talk about the auxiliary verbs and how to use them, the concepts of a subject-verb agreement in simple present tense, and lastly, we are going to learn about the frequency adverbs that are usually present in a simple present tense. Okay, so let's talk about the first agenda. Okay, simple present tense is one of the most common tenses used to communicate in the English language. You encounter this both in the verbal communication or within the text, in written text. So this tense indicates several interpretations about the time of the event depending on the type of the verb, other elements in the sentence, and the context in which the sentence appears. Well, it might be a bit confusing, but trust me, it is not that difficult. So let's move on. Now we talk about the function of simple present tense. Basically, the simple present tense marker appear in the verb of a sentence. So if you want to know which tense that the sentence expressed, just check the verb. It's basically the rule that applies to other tenses. So if you want to know whether this whether this sentence use particular tense, just check the verb, or in other words, the tense only affect the verb in that sentence. Now, the simple present tense indicates habitual activity, facts or general knowledge. These two you know well, and it expresses future scheduled activity. Wait, future activity? Isn't that supposed to be expressed by future tense? Oh, not really. Actually, it can be expressed by simple present tense. I'll let you know later. And also, lastly, it can be used to report events that happened the moment of the speech. It might be confusing because you know that something that is still happening at the moment of the speech should be expressed by present continuous tense, right? But that's not the case with the simple present tense. Okay, so imagine this is a timeline, alright? Imagine this is a timeline, and you see a tiny vertical line here. It represents this moment. Okay, this is the timeline, and this tiny one here represent the moment. And this there are these two ladies here talking at the moment. And this is how simple present tense expresses habitual activity. You see, imagine that they are talking about the activity that is done every day. Now, there are these two kids walking together every day to school. And this lady said, Tommy and Gina walk to school every day. This is a habitual activity that is done by these kids to walk together to school every day, right? So on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, these kids walk together. To express this activity, this habitual activity, the correct tense to be used is simple present. You see here, the verb walk is expressed using its present form, the simple present form. And also, if this if the thing that you want to that you want to express is a fact or general knowledge, like the mint leaves are green, whenever you say it, the mint leaves color is green. Alright, so this is considered a fact or general knowledge. Therefore, it is best to express it using simple present tense. Mint leaves are green. Now, about the future scheduled activity. For example, Rowena dances at the ballet competition next Friday. On Friday, a few days after this lady makes her speech about Rowena, she dances at the ballet competition. Now it is scheduled, so it's highly likely to happen because the event is already planned before, and also it's kind of certain to happen. So to express this kind of event, future scheduled activity using simple present tense is the most appropriate. Now about report. In here, report is seen like this. So for example, there are several activities done by this group. Alright, this woman with her kid. Oh look, Diana's pie is done. At the moment this lady speaks, she sees that the pie is done, right? And then her daughter eats the pie. Right after the pie is done, her daughter eats the pie, and then the little girl picks some apples. Maybe she wants to make some jam. So by the time this happened, this lady reports it. So you can use simple present tense for this situation. So you do not have to use a present continuous tense because the event is reported right at the moment it happens. Okay, so in this situation, you can use simple present tense. And now let's talk about the auxiliary verbs and how to use them in the sentence. What's an auxiliary verb? An auxiliary verb is also called the helping verb, is used with the main verb or on its own to help express the tense, the mood, or the voice. The main auxiliary verbs are to be, am, is, are, was, were, being, been, and will be. Also, to have. These are also examples of auxiliary verbs: has, have, had, having, will have. To do, that consists of does, do, did, and will do. Can you identify which auxiliary verbs used in simple present? That's right, am, is, are. Among these to be, only am, is, are used in simple present tense. Has and have, that's correct. Does and do. So these auxiliary verbs are used to express tense or the time marker. Look at this one. Rowena is the smartest student in the world. In this school, I mean. Truffles are expensive. Here there's no verb activities in this sentence, and to state the predicate, to state the condition or situation, this sentence uses to be, is, and are here. Tommy has curly hair. Yes, that's the fact. The boy named Tommy has curly hair, so using has is appropriate. Or it can be used to express voice here. It can be used to express voice. Voice is related to the passive or the active. The car is repaired. Amy's glasses are broken. Or the auxiliary verbs is used to express the mood. Do you like chocolate? It's an interrogative mood or interrogative form. What does the monkey want? Interrogative mood as well. She doesn't speak Japanese. It's the example of the negative mood. Don't bring your toys to school, Albert. It's the form of imperative mood. Okay, if you see here, some of the sentence use do, some of the sentence use does, doesn't, don't, and also this one use has, and this one use are, this one use is. So when do we use particular auxiliary verbs actually? Okay, so this is related to the concept that we are going to learn in the next slide. It is the subject and verb agreement in simple present tense. The subject-verb agreement is kind of rule, about adjusting the form of the verb with the subject of the sentence to make the sentence grammatically correct. It means, in other words, the subject must agree with the verb and the verb must agree with the subject. The basic form of subject-verb agreement is related to the plural and the singular subjects. So, in short, if the subject is plural, more than one items here, then the predicate or the verb must be in plural form. Also, this makes if the subject is singular or only one item, is considered only one item, then the predicate or the verb must be in singular forms. Look at this one. If the subject is plural, which is indicated by the ending s here, then the verb or the predicate that follows must be in plural form. The apples fall. The kingdoms are. The ideas look, or maybe the apples look sweet, or the kingdoms are big, for example. And if the subject is singular, you see here there's no s at the end of the word apple or the other nouns here. The predicate must be also in singular form, which usually has s at the end of the word, right? The apple falls. The kingdom is beautiful. Your idea looks okay, for example. You see this? Or the example, this algebra lesson explains mathematical induction. This algebra lesson here indicates that the noun is only one, the lesson is only one. Therefore, the verb must be in singular form. That is, using s at the end of the word. And look at the second example. The teachers attend a meeting every Monday afternoon. How many teachers are there? More than one, right? There are more than one teachers. So, the correct predicate or the correct verb is in the form of plural. That is, no s, without s. Maria doesn't have any cat. Here, Maria is a third singular person, and the third singular person is considered singular. So the correct auxiliary is does, using does because it's in the negative mood. Maria doesn't have any cat. She has a dog. Okay, I'm sure that you know why is the first verb is changed into the singular, but the other verb is in the simple form. Alright, now let's move on to the next example. These apples aren't sweet. Look at how many apples are there as the subject. More than one. Therefore, the predicate or the verbs here must be in plural since the subject is plural. And this one, he is a kind student. He is a kind student. He is a third singular person. And therefore, the auxiliary that accompanies it must be in singular form. That is. Also, there are words in English language which always grammatically singular, even though it may mean plural. Okay? It's always grammatically singular even though it may mean plural. Or in other words, anytime these words become the subject, you have to make sure that the verb is singular. Please pay attention to this kind of words because if you see these words as the subject, you have to make the verb singular. What is the word? Nobody here. There is nobody home. If you see the word nobody here, you have to make sure that the verb is singular. Like someone goes behind that tree. Alright? The word someone here always mean singular. Look at this one. Everybody have a chance. Is it correct? Yeah, that's not correct. Everybody means one. Everybody means a singular. So the correct adjective or the correct verb is has. The other words that always mean singular is anybody, anyone, anything, somebody, someone, something, nobody, no one, nothing, everybody, everyone, everything, or each plus noun, every plus noun, each student, every day, each apple, every kingdom. If you encounter these words, you have to make the verb singular because these words mean singular. Now you have learned the subject-verb agreement in statements. Can you explain how subject-verbs agreement works in interrogative form? Type your answer in comments section. Do not forget to mention your name. There's a bonus point for your answer. Okay, now let's move on to discuss agreement after the expressions of quantity. So, if subject-verb agreement can be tricky, if expressions of quantity such as all, most, or some are involved. So, if you see all, most, or some, in a word, in a sentence, then you have to decide whether the noun is plural or singular. Subject which contain all, most, or some can be plural or singular depending on what comes after of. Okay? If you see these words, all, most, some, you need to look at the word that comes after of. Some of the book is interesting. Look, after the word of, after the preposition of, the noun indicates singular, some of the book. It means that a part of the book. It means that parts of one book. Therefore, the verb must be in plural, even though you see there's an expression some. Compared to this, some of the books are interesting. After the preposition of, the noun indicates plural, books. You notice the ending s after the word book, right? Therefore, since the books or the noun indicates plural, then the verb must be in plural form, or. Some of the information is rather surprising. The word information is uncountable noun. Therefore, it must be considered singular. Hence, the verb is singular as well. that is. Okay, can you make several other examples using all and most? Type your answer in the comment section. Remember to write your name, and I will give you bonus points for this class. Okay, now let's talk about common adverb of time and frequency in simple present tense. The adverbs of time and frequency that usually appears in simple present tense or tomorrow, today, yesterday, soon, never, usually, always, and yet. Like in this case, they usually appear in the beginning or at the end of the sentence. Look at these two sentences. Every year, Mr. Stark holds a charity event. His best friend, Doctor Strange, attends that event every year. It's a habitual activity, right? Because it happens every year. Now, the adverbs of time can be placed at the beginning of the sentence, like in the first example, or at the end of the sentence, in the second example. Some adverbs may occur in the middle of the sentence. They have usual positions. First, they come in front of a verb. Miss Potts usually accompanies Mr. Stark. Here, the adverbs of time or adverbs of frequency appears before the verb, in front of the verb. They can follow be. Remember to place the adverb after be. Miss Potts is usually on time. The word usually is placed after be. In a question, a mid-sentence adverb comes directly after the subject. Remember, in question, the adverbs comes after the subject. Does she always come in time? What is the subject of this question? Yes, it's she. Therefore, remember to place the adverbs after the subject, she. Try to make a sentence using the other adverbs listed above. Type your answer in the comment section. Alright, that's it for today's class. Thank you for listening this explanation. See you